What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Root. So I'm going to review a 2007 album by Coheed and Cambria. Basically this product is called Good Apollo on Burning Star 4 Volume 2, No World for Tomorrow. And this particular product came out in the fall of 2007. Now for short, this particular album is called No World for Tomorrow. And that's probably what I'll refer to it as far as these pitches going to have within the aspect behind it. Similar to From Fear Through the Eyes of Madness from 2005, which was a hit album as well. Now within these pitches, I want to get to more Coheed and Cambria pitches like that, see what else is up with them as far as this pitch can happen, because I do remember some of the singles from Fear Through the Eyes of Madness, but I want to get to further type ones, see what the bopping type appeals about it kind of is, see the further kind of hits that they have. Within the aspect here, as far as saying this is another classic just within the appeals behind it, a little bit more melded, not quite as ferocious. The Houseparty type appeals is not as blitzing. When you think of some of the singles off of From Fear Through the Eyes of Madness, like Welcome Home and The Suffering, and then 10 Speed of God's Blood and Burial, it's just kind of the pitch as far as saying it's a quieter type album within pitches like that. It has the same aspect, like some quality on here. It has the same aspect, like some quality on here as far as these pitches can have. I'm going to actually see how high some of these singles charted just within the pitch, because it's just kind of the aspect as far as saying, yeah, particularly the second single didn't chart, so it's just kind of the pitch as far as saying within the aspects as far as these tones going to happen. I just look after the fair as far as getting towards it. Now it's kind of similar to like the particular fair when you pay attention to some of these type of aspects. It's just kind of the tone as far as like it's the same typical type fare that kind of goes along with some of those type tones. But I look after this is a classic here to be able to get, so I look within the aspects as far as saying particularly it's kind of the same theater type aspects, but just a little bit more melded, and kind of the aspect as far as talking about some restaurant type music. It's kind of the pitch. It's actually kind of interesting, just the widespread type appeal, where the previous one kind of felt like more house party type noise, pitches like that within the aspect as far as like the theater type effect. This is very much the dramatics, and this is a continuation considering that this is volume 2 of that particular style that was kicked off in 2005. It's a continuation of that which was kicked off in 2005 as far as those pitches can happen. Now, I want to say every one of these is kind of telling a saga within the aspects like the fair, and it's not. I'm going to talk more about the composition of the album more so than the pitch, about the storyline as far as those pitches can happen. It's not to say it's not. It's not to say it's not good, but it's just kind of the pitch as far as saying the viciousness of these type of songs within the appeal to have their heaviness. It's just kind of the tone, but yeah, it's just the commonplace that it's not so much this album felt rushed, but it's just kind of the pitch as far as saying it just felt fleeting within the aspects as far as like the fair of just like going to the trouble of this album, and then the wrap up behind it being a lot quicker within the fair as far as those pitches kind of went. But particularly I look after the aspect as far as saying just within the appeal that it does have some good type tones, just kind of more within the pitch that you get some of these type moments. It does have, it's basically just like a more, it has the same packaging. It seems like they tightened their abilities compared to volume 1 as far as these pitch kind of went, but it's just not as roughneck this time. It says a little bit less composition in terms of like the viciousness. It's the same sort of product here, but in terms of like a vicious type song like Welcome Home or The Suffering, some of those type ones, it's just not, the bite is just not as feral. So that's the only real thing about it. It's just a little bit more melded, like I was saying. But other than that, I mean, the quality is definitely on here. It's just kind of pitch in terms of like the chart heaviness. It just feels more cookie cutter, fleeting, and quick as far as those aspects going to have. But still good type pitches. So I look after it, just being able to say, then the aspect, the Running Free is the lead single off this album. This is one that charted decently on the U.S. main charts, pitches like that. Not as commonplace noise that this band made in 2005 and 2003. Some of those type pitches, but still some good aspects here just to get a follow-up type hit to see what they're up to. The Running Free is like a nice raging, but kind of more vanilla kind of step out, I'd say, within the products of it here. Just a basic kind of restaurant and city scene. Songs like a basic kind of restaurant and city scene kind of heat as far as this pitch kind of. So just within the tone, it's kind of aspect, kind of takes a page out of Panic at the Disco's playbook. Some of those type folks, Emery, folks like that, kind of within the aspect. Something you kind of listen to in a more, not so much like 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock p.m., but kind of more 6:30 or 5:15 pitches like that, 4:15, some of the stuff aspects of dislike places like McAllister's, places with a little bit more lighthearted typeness where it wouldn't be so much a full bound kind of rum and coke or something like that, but more within the pitch of just talking about something that would probably possibly be just like an iced tea or something like a lemonade, something real soft drink, something within that variety. And by soft drink I mean healthy soft drink within the pitch, but not so much full bound like promoting health like they had a problem with it, but just kind of the tone of just saying something like, you know, it's Monday or Tuesday, I'm just going to have like a tea or a Dr. Pepper, something like that, and just have like some nachos or some wings, pitch like that. It's a simple type time for like the restaurant type scene. And pizzazz as far as those fairs going to happen. There's a good assortment of square type music off this album, so pitches like that. And I don't mean square in terms of like boring type square. I mean like town square, places like that where you'd have just in like the square of a town, the type pitches. Speaking of songs like that, Feathers is a nice one as well as a good type pitch. Now this single did not chart, but it probably should have within those pitches. Definitely some excellent type appeals. It's like a good park bound and square commotion, kind of get within the aspects of it here. Town square commotion, so I mean by that, just like this would be a good out and about type song to privately smoke a joint, pitches like that. Just kind of still be in the city scene, but just smoke off to the wayside, just within the legality of it, pitches like that. Just kind of grab some Quiznos, pitches like that. Kind of appreciate like the day scenery as far as those pitches kind of happen. So just within the ordeal as far as getting towards some of those type conducts. This would say within the product of just being sociable. It's a product of being more sociable within the aspects as far as like the step around as far as those pitch gaps. It's just within the ordeal. Both of these singles off this project kind of have the tone of moreover saying that it's just not as much couch bound and more house party kind of get crunk beer bongs typeness within the aspects as far as those tones can have. It's just kind of the tone of that. But it's not to say, I mean, I think this album does have that within certain senses, but it kind of has like the commotion as far as being within the facet of going having the fun times, but having like some interaction as far as not being just agoraphobic or something within those varieties. As far as those pitches can have just kind of the tone of just getting like the commonplace dap and pitches like that, some of the stuff ordeals. That wraps up like the commonplace of this album as far as these pitches kind of happen. So yeah, I recommend every song out of the 13 songs on this album, minus the song The End Complete 5 on the Brink. We should talk about that song real quick. That one was just kind of a messier type one within the pitch. Just the composition behind that song just had too much going on. It didn't really have like a typical type arrangement. It was just kind of, it's just a lengthier type song that the song arrangements of that song were just not as synchronized and quite as aspect within like the quality of what was kind of happening. It was just kind of, it's kind of like a medley type song, pretty similar to like Jesus of Suburbia by Green Day off of American Idiot, but that just nailed that. Jesus of Suburbia off of American Idiot just nailed that composition better, at least had a little bit more rhyme to its reason. This particular one doesn't have as much rhyme to the reason or methods to madness within the pitch behind it. It's just not as affable within the pitch. But other than that, this album gets a 10 out of 10, 12 out of 13, pitches like that, excellent type ordeals. Just being able to say, I like some of these kind of 1 minute intro type songs, pitches like that, or kickoff type songs. Real good example, one is The Reaping. It's like a nice dark syrupy kind of post-grunge malaise, kind of get within the products of it here. Just Red Eyes, pitches like that, Red Eyes from Smoking Stones type products. Just have some quick goodies, pitches like that, dismiss the ordeal, like some Dust Passage, I'd say. Good hop to kind of have. So just kind of out and around within the city type fair in a typical kind of post-grunge type sense. Now most of this is kind of more alternative metal, and most of this is just kind of more alternative metal and emo rock within those pitches. It's just something that kind of continues like the trend of just some of those type fairs, like when you think of Green Day from the early 2000s and folks like that, Panic at the Disco, within that same vein. This is very post-grunge as talking about the song The Reaping. I'll go ahead and talk about the End Complete one, The Fall of House Atlantic. This one's pretty similar to the Reaping pitches like that. So The Fall of House Atlantic. This one's pretty similar to The Reaping. So The Fall of House Atlantic's like a brushy kind of western sunset dip kind of haze, kind of get within the aspects of it here. Just smoke one, basking like the late as far as this pitch can happen. So dismiss the ordeal. It's something within that typical kind of town, kind of almost ghost town like dramatics within the pitch. It's kind of gusty within pitches like that, but just kind of the ordeal, just like some town hops. It's just more of the fashion, just out and about with this little bit more dramatic type fashion about. It's a good type flair. Good snack type songs to go pick up like some Chex Mix. Great songs to pick up like some Chex Mix, frozen burritos, pitches like that within those ordeals, some stuff aspects. Probably what would have made a nice third single. I'm real surprised that they didn't attempt to promote this album any further. Just kind of wrapped up a lot quicker than it probably should have, considering that they'd been gone for a little bit. It's kind of the same thing with their 2005 album. The third single off that album didn't really have that much chart appeal within those pitches. I don't know why they didn't release it to radio pitches like that, but they kind of been undermining like the promotion quality of their albums, which is unfortunate. But it's just kind of the pitch that they kind of got screwed out of like relative popularity. But Mother Superior is a nice one. This probably could have been a nice one. It's like a good dank and kind of dreary kind of post-grunge fog to kind of get like some makeshift reflect pitches like that, I'd have to say. Kind of good for some errand runs. Just one of those type ones where you have extra thought within some of those type pitches. It just kind of out and around kind of reflect pitches like that. It's kind of makeshift. Still kind of in makeshift mode, or just going for errand runs, some stuff products, Bill Payne pitches like that within the standard kind of 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock p.m. kind of dredge pitches like that, just kind of in a more post-grunge, not so much ballad within a sense, but just kind of that dreary like that particular aspect as far as those tones can go. So just good type pitch. Once again, Most of this is kind of more emo rock and alternative metal, but there are some good type traces of a little bit of post grunge on here, so pitches for that's pretty good. No World for Tomorrow is an excellent one, as well as like a riveting, fierce turn up to kind of get within the progs of it here. Just good, raw, makeshift kind of flip mode, I'd have to say. Head to like a venue or places like that within those pitches. Kind of the product of just getting towards some excitement, figuring out the next mode. This is a great type one to kind of listen to once it is 4:30, 5:30 p.m. pitches like that. Just the product of just that excitement of like those typical kind of alt metal and emo rock type ones where you just have this folks like Under Oath and Green Day. Folks like Under Oath and Green Day and Panic at the Disco would do some of these where we're just excited that it's 5 o'clock p.m. Shit's done. Some type of aspects is figure out the kickoff. It's a real electric kind of flip mode for some of those type of appeals for us those pitches kind of happen. Another kind of one within those aspects would be more or less, like I'd have to say here, another one of those within those aspects that I'd say here would be the Hound of Blood and Rank as far as those pitches kind of happen. It's like a buzzing kind of evening loud pack to kind of get within the progs of it here. Good embrace after usual as far as those pitches kind of happen. Not as ferocious as No World for Tomorrow, but within that relative type pitch of just figuring out some next moves, grab like Doritos, pitches like that. So just more maybe possibly just like a Traverse kind of snack run, pitches like that, some type of ordeals. Not If No World for Tomorrow is probably more Thursday, Friday type appeal with a little bit more Liddy type turn up, I'd probably say the Hound of Blood and Rank would probably be more Monday or Tuesday pitches like that, just when the ordeals is a little bit more steadfast type commotion, but still like some good type product to just like an embrace kind of have done with things. Just the aspect of this weekday type charm as far as like some more responsible kind of spices pitches like that. A throwback to 2005 Coheed and Cambria would be Justice and Murder. This is a nice one. It's like a throwback to theater dramatic. This is a throwback to theater dramatics of 2005 Cambria. I'd have to say here, very similar to Welcome Home, some of that pitches within it. Very similar to Welcome Home, some of that pitches, and a good song to jam out to as far as this pitch can happen. So just within the aspect, as far as saying within the product of it, just a throwback type song, easily kind of excellent type one within these pitches as far as talking about Coheed and Cambria with some of their more Houseparty type appeal. Now, it's not so much this album full bound kind of skips over these particular type moments within the pitch as far as just talking about the project, it's not having the same ferocity, but it's just kind of the pitch as far as saying it just tries some new angles within the pitch as far as like the concept of just not, I don't know if it was just and worry of being pigeonhole pitches like that, but you do kind of miss songs within certain type fashions. I don't know, it just felt like Coheed and Cambria, the more I think about it, was a lot more short. Just felt like the popularity of Coheed and Cambria was a lot more short-lived within the pitch, just considering the facet that particularly I want to say they blew up more within their 2003 and 2005 albums. This particular album is just more or less seen as like a one-hit wonder pitches like that as far as those ordeals can have. Not to say it actually is, but it's just kind of pitch that this is very quiet within the aspects for us these tones can have. So it's just the pitch as far as saying it has some good type of appeals. This is a throwback just in the theater type aspect, similar to Panic at the Disco, My Chemical Romance, similar to Panic at the Disco, My Chemical Romance, some stuff folks within the pitch behind it. Excellent within that theater type aspect, good type of appeal. I don't know if I talked about Grave Makers and Gunslingers. This is a nice one as well. It's like a basic kind of dope buzz single kind of get and Houseparty kind of kick off just like 2005 pitches like that. It's a pretty red hot type one. So Grave Makers and Gunslingers is just some of that further type commotion within pitches like that, just amongst the appeal, more social kind of pizzazz pitches like that. A lot of these kind of have more commerce in mind or traffic within some of these type pitches, but this is a good type format for more Houseparty type kickoff, similar to how some of those bangers type were on their 2005 album pitches like that. So a good type ordeal is just in a vintage type sense, excellent type product of it. Just to say, to talk about some of these other ones on here in terms of like the End Complete songs, basically the End Complete for the Road. Basically, the song The End Complete for the Road and the Damned is a nice one as well. It's like a pleasant and uniform kind of emo rock, I'd say, in like a day shift kind of work-a-day sense as far as those pitch can happen. It's a good radio fit. Some of these type of ones, they do have a lot of good radio charmers on here within these aspects. There's a few of these within these particular tones, like Gravemakers and Gunslingers, Mother Superior. I'd probably say like No World for Tomorrow pitches like that, Radio Bye Bye, some of these type ones within these aspects kind of have these tones, but particularly The Road and the Damned just has that particular aspect. This is probably the most factory type one in terms of like the most straightforward, in terms of like a steadfast type one, just for like the factory kind of hop to within these pitches, just Bill Payne type music and just an emo type song, like a makeshift kind of straightforward type sense. It's just good aspect and like a more plain type aspect, just with the more uniform and just kind of about the day push as far as this pitch kind of go. The incomplete 3, the incomplete is a nice one within these pitches as well. It's like amidst like some travel runs, I'd say here within the aspects of it, get some shit done, I would definitely say within the product, good type fare, cheaper gas stations I would make runs to some of these type pitches. If it's one of those type of aspects for like a night out within pitches like that, just trying to figure out the tone as far as saving some money, some type tones. Maybe at one spot Jack Daniels is like $13.99, but another one it's like $10.99, something like that. It's just kind of ordeals finding those particular gas stations, just figuring out the product, some of those type of appeals with it, just getting like the good stacks and goodies and supplies for getting like the good fits and supplies and goodies as far as those assets can have. So just to miss the pitch, but just in the kind of being more within like a more kind of being within a broader type traverse pitches like that as far as those assets going to happen. So just to miss the tone, not so much a stretcher, but just kind of miss the product to just more snappy within an emo type fit. It just like the particular tone, kind of like a good recreational kind of embrace, but still miss the product of being productive as far as this pitch can happen. So just kind of has maybe leftover type makeshift on there within pitches like that, but just kind of aspect of it being probably, I would say, past 4 o'clock or so p.m. pitches like that. So this is kind of tones for us, just like that commerce kind of push, just from the aspect like some spices, good type tone. Then the incomplete 2, radio bye-bye, is a nice one within these pitches as well. It's like a good get up and evening traffic to kind of get here within the products of it here. Just kind of a mild sauce turn up, I'd have to say. A couple beers, something like that, like a venue selling that pitch is just good for some hops as far as this pitch going to happen. So radio bye-bye is just a basic kind of groove and radio enjoy as far as these pitch going to happen. So radio bye-bye is just a basic kind of groove and venue enjoy as far as these pitch can happen. Just to miss the product, just kind of more vanilla type one, pretty similar to like the running free, some of these type ones and feathers within the aspects, both pretty similar to both the singles for us aspect, just a little bit more toned down, a little bit more mild sauce. Pretty similar to both the singles in terms of like a little bit more toned down, a little bit more mild sauce kind of turn up within these pitches. I'd probably say that the energy of most of this album, minus like a couple songs, like possibly like No World for Tomorrow, and then possibly like Gravemakers and Gunslinger. I'd say most of this album's kind of like Ravenous typeness is probably at like a 7 or 7.25 or 7.5 out of 10. It's just the pitch as far as saying. Expecting another song like Welcome Home, it's just not within the ferocity, but it does have some different angles as far as like some emotions kind of have like for differential kind of social type conduct within pitch. Just the aspect of the out and around as far as this pitch can happen. It's more outing type places within like the It's more outing type places within like the congregate of it as far as this pitch can happen. So this has more emphasis on gab more so than the product of like the aspect like the ferocity. But it's, that's excellent enough within those pitches, or it's definitely excellent within those pitches as far as this pitch can happen. So that's the pitch. 10 out of 10 album. The social score I'd probably give maybe like a 9.75. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 9.75 just because really there was only one true single that got the girth and the breadth of like the promotion as far as this person can have them. Very unfortunate. It's just too bad that Feathers didn't have more terrificness within aspects. That's a pretty excellent song. They didn't try to promote this album further, which it just felt like this the second time now that felt like their promotion. The second time within the past good while that felt like their promotion fair kind of got snubbed within those aspects as far as this pitch can happen, which just impacted like a pretty excellent type album here within the pitch behind it. And then to say after that, I don't think they came back until 2010. So it's just kind of the fair as far as saying just a quick run as far as those aspects can happen. And then that just snapped things up, and that was the take care of it as far as those pitch counts. So I'm going to say 9.75. Just the aspect. There are some ones on here. Like I said, these city stepping type ones are pretty good. Restaurant type music. A little bit of traverse type ones for going to gas stations or figuring out better prices. Some of those type pitches. A little bit of commerce within pitches like that. Some of these makeshift type songs within pitch, like an emo type sense, does have some of these on here for more straightforwardness. Some post-grunge kind of fog and haze. A little bit of Houseparty like their days in 2005 pitches like that. So it gives you a pretty good helping. The social score would get a 10 out of 10 if it was just promoted better. It's just the only thing about it, but you do get some social varieties pitches like that, some of these city stepping type ones pitches like that, so good type ordeals. 9.75. In terms of future, like Coheed and Cambria, I want to say they dropped some recent stuff. If it wasn't 2025 or 2024, it was probably 2023 within some type pitches. They put out some recent type products pitches like that, so it's within the ordeals. I'm going to start getting to further these type products. I'm going to get to some of their girthy type ones with an aspect like their chart get to some of these girthy type ones in terms of like their chart heyday and pitches like that. I'm going to get to some of these type of varieties. I'm definitely going to cover later aspects of them. As well as far as this pitch can happen. But yeah, this is a basic classic. This more on the melded type side, not as ferocious within the ravenous type bite, not as venomous this time, but it is a good aspect just in terms of like a good clean fit that has like a good amount of bite that this is like a kind of more glancing blow that just nails the variety pretty well.